Hey guys, welcome back to Gaming in the Grove, and this is Minecraft. As you can see, this is Immersive Railroading with the TerraForged Mod, playing up for our very lovely world. And then we're also using Optifine, as you can tell, with the Seuss Renewed shader. I tried using the Seuss, the other Seuss mod that adds essentially ray tracing to Minecraft, but a weird issue happened where it started disco lighting. I've not had that happen in the other attempts of playing with it, so I still don't know how to fix that, so we just stayed with the Seuss Renewed because it still gives us amazing lighting. Alright, one other thing I'd like to quickly call out is I'd like to call out some of the other mods. Can't do that here. So, give me 1 second and I'll read them off. Alright, so I went ahead and grabbed that list. That's why you're seeing the chat right now, and I'm not really moving around much. I'm using the Sound Filters mod, which allows for kind of a reverb when in tunnels and in dark places. It also kind of deafens sound a bit if you're not in the same room as sounds. I'm also using all the universal APIs for some of my mods that I'm using, as well as for the universal mod for Immersive Railroading nowadays. I also have something called Environment OS. I'm pretty sure that's the environmental sounds mod that I'm using. There's like an entirely weather and a bunch of other that changes a whole bunch of different things. I just like the environmental sounds part of it. I used to like the weather part, but it's a very taxing mod, and with all the other taxing mods going on right now, I didn't want to use it. You may have noticed a lot of the camera moves and everything I've been doing in the last few episodes. That's the CMD cam. Sadly, it doesn't have the ability for it to be placed down and run automatically. Unless you have, like... If I had a second character, I could put the second character down and do, like, a long time-lapse that way. But I don't. I don't have the money for that. So, right now, I'm just doing, essentially... I set a camera path, and over the next 2 or 3 hours, I go ahead and I multiple record... different time periods, like every 15 to every 10 minutes, to kind of create the images changing and showing you the progress as things go on. And then last, of course, I have the Ambient Sounds mod in here as well. Overall, there's some really good mods. They're all working really well together. They really create this amazing kind of experience. And then there's always the fact that I'm also using the Journey map mod, which gives us that lovely mini map in the top right corner that we've used so much to kind of show off where we're going with everything. Alright. Now there is one more thing I'd like to do. I've realized recently that with larger trains, they don't do well with the shorter 10 block track gap. So if you have it every 10 blocks, what happens is the wheels will make the sound of clickety-clack, or the sound that they're using for that, every 10 blocks. With a long train with very short wheels, that's a lot very quickly. We didn't notice it as much with the passenger train because the wheels are much further apart with the cars. They pretty much took space over 2 of these, so you didn't notice it as much. But with a smaller freight cars and a lot of experimentation, I've realized that was bad. So I've been replacing any 10 that I could with these larger 20s, which means our bridge is going to have to change a little bit in design. I had originally decided that I was going to maybe do it every 10 or so we would do an abutment, but now I'm not entirely sure I like that. And that's also what I'm literally getting started doing right now, is we need to get started on that. We have an abutment, we need to kind of start building, and I need some concrete is what I need. No, not powder, I want the actual concrete. Oh, and we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that. Alright. There we go. Gives us a little bit of a kind of area here. 2 blocks, and let's make it just the logs by themselves. Now, I should be able to do this because it shouldn't cause any issues, but we're going to go next to the bridge track. I want to do a trestle for this first part, so I want to do it actually about every 20. So essentially every 21, we're going to have a pillar. Ooh. Okay, I take that back. I don't like that. It doesn't look right. Already, I'm like just starting and I'm looking and going, nope. Later on, maybe, but right now, let's try 5. This is going to make an awful racket whenever we do this, but for right now, I don't have much issue doing this. Okay. Now let's continue that again. Do it 5 more blocks. That's much better. That looks much nicer right there. That kind of gives it the nice look that I was looking for. As we go down another level, we can start going further apart. I think that just because it's here early on, the 5 is what's going to work better. It does mean we're going to get a lot of that loud clicking sound very early on, but it is a bridge, so I'm kind of not too worried. It kind of fits, but at the same time, yeah, I think it's going to be a bit annoying getting on the bridges and getting off bridges to start. So this was actually going to be our 1 block, and this is our first look at it going on a more, yeah. So what I think is starting with this one, actually. I think this would be the perfect place to start going every 10 blocks. Nope, not 50, every 10. So every 10 blocks now we're going to have, and as you can see, it already kind of looks better. I might actually go ahead and delete this middle one here, just because I think the 10 would also work. And there we are. I'm thinking of doing a actual, like, full-on Minecraft concrete abutment somewhere. We're going to go more over the middle of the river rather than over there. I was expecting us to go over that way, but we're going to go more over the river, so we might be able to put something about here. We'll have a huge concrete pillar and have a pillar over here, and I think we're going to end up making our own bridge. Can I do 20 now? I don't think so. I think if I do 20, I'm pushing it. It kind of works. It kind of works. I'll give it to it. I still say every 10 is probably going to look better. So, we'll do 10, and then we'll do 10, and then we'll do 10. This is the hard part. This is one of those parts where you just kind of need to test, see, test, see, test, see. There is no easy way to do this. Nice! Look at that! Already fitting together very well. And this is all using the Santa Fe pack. The Santa Fe pack comes with this track that allows for these very interesting wooden trestle bridges. I would have preferred them to have more kind of petering out edges the higher it got, but I'm not going to complain. I think they did an amazing job with what they had. And yeah, as you can see, we're already getting this nice little bridge-like view. Normally, I would also make it so that there's an area on the side for people to walk by, but I'm not too upset. Though I am seeing some of these weird bits here where there's like a tie missing. I'm not too upset. That looks okay. It is, I don't understand why it's doing that, but interesting. I always kind of wonder if this is going to work. These plans are like really hard to kind of figure out and kind of make, and it's one of those things that I've not used this track before. I've not used any of this, Now, downside is, if I ever have to change over to a new version and the new version of the mod gets rid of all the previous track, this is all going to be gone. This is not going to have anything here other than the abutment structure over there, and then the mine block structure I plan to have in the middle over here. That's all that's going to exist if the track gets erased. So keep that in mind. Going forward, you should always make sure that your designs are either easily able to be replaced, or you can kind of figure out how you did it the first time. The hardest thing with mods like this is if something happens and you have to reinstall the mod, you have to essentially start over from scratch, or you have to at least know how you did it the first time around. And that's one of the things that I will always advise you to either keep a record or keep a backup or something. Always have a way to see what you've done before. And see, even this, just building this bridge has been faster than building that entire cut back there. Now here's where we're going to change things up. I'm going to do the 1. But instead of doing another 10 piece, I want to change this into a Minecraft bridge. I want to essentially build a bridge here that is made from Minecraft parts to cross this section. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build essentially a concrete platform down here. This is where our bridge is going to change. We're no longer going to be dealing with the wood bridge here. We're going to be having a steel bridge here. I would suggest building your little concrete platform about 2 high. That way nothing can actively climb up it and it's kind of off the ground. Normally I think I use the darker concrete for this section. Because now our main goal is we are making a platform. 6, 7 wide isn't bad, because that gives us essentially a nice area here on both sides. It gives us a gap for what is essentially going to end up being a much larger bridge situation. No. I was wondering if maybe we could do this, but no. So, with some kind of experimenting around, I have found that yes, we are not actually going to cross over that middle point, but we are going to cross over the little inlet here, which could allow us to essentially build a middle piece there. Will I? I don't know. The bridge is actually turning out quite larger than I remembered it being. Mostly because I think I've forgotten how big it's supposed to be, which is a weird thought. Hence why I'm now pulling out different like baggage cars and stuff. So it's going to be more than perfect for that, but I need to now check for the higher stuff. So, if this is true, that means I can bring this entire thing down a block. Yes, I can. Which gives us a very nice close shave without being that close. Which sets entirely the size of the bridge. Now, the next part is kind of a hard one. We have our bridge, now we need to create the struts. Not the struts. The supports. Because now up here is essentially going to be a lattice work design. I've decided already what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 opposite of the coming up pillars here, and then 2 the opposite way before going back down over here, which I'm hoping will end right about here, which will be right over the middle of the bridge, where I'm then going to start another one over here. My thought is both will be over land for a good majority of piece, but also mainly centered over the bridge. The big question is, will it fit? Because these type of lattice work pieces are very hard to do with smaller projects. It has to be a big project. It has to be over a long piece of distance. And I'm hoping what it does is it looks correct and fits in correctly. So my goal right now is just to get it looking right. And I like doing this because this allows me to then kind of make a connection here. And what we'll do here is to connect this all in together to make the design kind of work still, is bridge that. So now we know how far 1 is. Alright, so I went ahead and I did some more work, and I actually ended up deciding that that middle X would probably be a good place to kind of switch over. I was going to do one more, but after kind of working with it a bit, I realized that this actually ends at the perfect spot here in the middle. Have a bit of a gap. Not too much of a gap, but a little bit of a gap, and then start the next truss section. Because we essentially have this large wooden lead up, and it goes into a truss bridge. We're going to have 2 trusses, and then we're going to lead back into the wood again after the other side. From my estimates, I think I've already gone 20, 40, 60, maybe about 80 blocks? Which, if you think about it, that's a long distance. That is a long distance. So this now comes all the way up here. Have it touch. And that's going to be our abutments for this section. The thing keeping it up. A little bit higher than what I normally do with this when building these bridges. But I think at the moment, all things considering, that works better than just, you know, not. So I went ahead and worked a little bit more. We got the finished side on now. So we have the bridge leading up, we have the one full side done, and I now have the middle piece done as well. Kind of wanted to be closer to the middle, but didn't end up working out the way I had hoped. Now I'm just going to essentially duplicate the design there, over to here, and then we'll go back to making the other bridge there, kind of finishing off with one of these. And then we'll essentially test it all out by running a train across it. I think by that time I might also go ahead and fill this in, because while it looks pretty cool now, I don't think it's going to work come the finished product. But overall, hey, we're crossing the river. We've come so far. We're almost there. We're almost home free. So, alright, gonna get on that, and I'll check in with you guys when it's more done. And there we are. A Minecraft bridge. It's a bit larger than the other one. I have various segments of 20 and I think 123 tracks to cover this entire length, but it makes a very nice looking, I keep wanting to say bascule bridge, and that's not right. I don't know why I keep wanting to say bascule. It's a truss bridge. I have essentially 2 truss bridges. We have a nice little middle piece there with the abutments. And overall, it looks really nice. Like, when we watch our trains go across this, it's going to look really good from afar. It'd be much better if I had metal, but I don't have any of the other kind of mods added on right now. So this will work. This is going to work really well. So now that we've finished off our lovely truss bridge, and we have made it to the other side, we're going to move back to wood. Back to the old standard. We'll do 10 of the gap pieces, and then 1 piece of track with the abutment. Abutment? No. Support. Abutment is what we have on the end. Support is what we have here. Overall, we don't have much longer until we're essentially level with the ground again. I'm expecting probably to have the bridge curve a bit. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I want to do it. Alright, so I went ahead and finished up the bridge on this side. It's not as long as the other side, so that's kind of interesting, but I've already started work on what is essentially becoming our embankment here. To kind of build the curve. Alright, so just going to quickly add some more concrete right there. I want to bring this down to just normal logs and do a 2-piece, kind of finishing off the bridge and starting us back into, well, normal track. It's about 20 blocks long. This is a nice little gap here before we get to where we're going to have our curve. I figure the curve is probably going to be a bit longer than that, so I'm trying to think of how long we should make it. So far I'm noticing anything that's about 50 or 60 blocks long tends to be very nice for longer locomotives and for longer trains. It seems to have less issues with the train looking weird going through it. So I'm thinking maybe doing 50 or 60. Boom. End of bridge, new abutment, and we're almost to the station. Or where I essentially assume will end up being the station for the next town. So with a little bit of love and spice and touch, we finished off this entire embankment. As you can see, I've also added some grass to kind of give it a more lived-in feel. But not bad, not bad. Have an entire bridge, built in a little bit of an embankment. Now the next thing is Bridge 2. So for Bridge 2, I'm doing a little something different. Instead of doing a Minecraft bridge, I've decided to do another built-in bridge. But the issue is, due to how the track is placed, I need to use a smooth. I don't want to switch. Why do I have switch? Straight. Oh my goodness, that would have been a nightmare. There we are. That fits much better. Let's go ahead and get rid of this pylon here. There we go. And now, just to make the abutment on the other side, and that will finish up this little bridge here. There we are. Probably could have done the support here in the middle, but I'm not too worried about that. I think it looks okay as is, especially considering this is actually pretty short of a distance in real life. But, you know, if I need to, I'll build something later. For now, I think it looks fine. The main part now is building up the dirt so that it matches up with the top of the wall here, and then finishing up the track toward the town. We definitely need to finish up the embankment so that at least it's now heading the correct way. Also, the next goal would probably be a good idea to finish up that 110 curve so that it matches the curve before the bridge. I don't think we're going to have much issue with that. But I am going to quickly run in to do that, and I'll be right back with you guys. And there we go. I've went ahead and I completed all of this little S-bend turn. Ooh, sorry. Had to stretch a bit. So, I have this lovely little embankment here after the main bridge. We go across the second bridge going to the left, swerving over the stream. Which, by the way, that It's better than my imagination ever planned any of this. And now, next up is we're going to bend a little bit more as we head towards the town. Just going to do another S-bend following the ground movements before we head to essentially what is going to become the station here. This is going to become our station. We're going to have our another small... I'm thinking of having 2 switches here, having a main line through the middle and then having another switch over to the left. Essentially, this is going to be our passenger, the main, and then a passing track over here. Essentially making this entire area kind of like a nice hub of traffic as well as passing and moving. That way, if I want to, I can leave a freight train there or whatever have you. We leave something there. Maybe even have another switch then again for like cabooses and stuff. We do not need another roundhouse. We do not need another one of those. We already have one of those way over this way. We should have a roundhouse right about there. We've already got the roundhouse. We don't need to do anything else. We have all this track we can play with. And then we'll have a new station before heading on to new and more insane territory. Like, we have a lot coming up that's going to go into some interesting places. But to kind of finish up here, I think, for today, pretty much need to start the next curve. Overall, I think this is a good place to call it for the episode. I think this is a good place to call it for now. Next episode is literally going to be the finishing up to the town, the station, and getting all that done. I'm also experimenting with new things for each episode. You may have noticed last episode was a very heavy time-lapse driven episode, and this one I've cut them out entirely. I had no time lapses. We just did everything in either I did in real time in my own time, and then we just cut to it. You know, it's one of those things of you have to kind of mess with the format and see how things are going. And after 6 weeks, by the way, this episode is 6 weeks into the series. Both congratulations to us for making this far, and congratulations to me for being this interested in it to continue doing it for... No, wait, this is 5. This is 5. This is the episode before 6 weeks, I think. Yes, next week is the 6 weeks episode. Oh my gosh, I'm already ahead of myself. We're 5 weeks in. Next week is going to be 6 weeks in. We've got a lot done in that time period. Here we are, crossing the bridge. Alright guys, and I think that's it for our video today. We've built the bridge, we've built the embankment, we've crossed the river, and we crossed the stream. Now we're on our way to the final station. Well, the next station anyway. And episode 6 will actually mark the end of the first, what I'm calling season of Minecraft. Don't know if it's actually going to be a season, but I kind of decided that episode is going to be filled with a lot of different reveals. It's going to be filled with a lot of work and a lot of fun stuff for the future. Essentially, the first 6 weeks of this show and this channel has essentially been determined to be kind of me learning. I've done a YouTube channel before, but never anything this extensive and this robust. I normally would do 1 or 2 videos every few weeks. I've never once tried to do a video every single day of the week, except for Saturdays and Sundays. That's new. That's something I have never done. And it has taught me a lot. I have learned so much doing this, and I have not even finished half the videos on that list of videos that I want to get done. For now, enjoy the videos, enjoy the content. There's a lot of content coming out. I think that Minecraft is definitely here to stay. It has been a series that I have enjoyed making immensely, and I am so excited to see where we're going to go next. Especially since we got all these pretty trains, and there's more pretty trains to come. But for now, thank you all for watching. I'm Silver. This is Gaming in the Grove, and please like and subscribe. Leave comments. I like hearing from you guys. I like hearing from anyone who's watching. I enjoy interaction from you all. Alright guys, till next time. See ya.